I do want to throw some facts out for you guys and the Busted Open Nation because they're special. And it concerns Roman Reigns. So I know we get caught up in the fact that Roman hasn't really defended this title. But as of today, Roman has been your world champion for 1,303 days. I mean, that is one hell of a historic run. Go ahead, Bully.
Oh, no, I'm just throwing up the one for Roman Reigns.
No, acknowledging him.
I'm acknowledging Roman Reigns.
We're acknowledging him.
That is our tribal chief. I am acknowledging this historic day.
Yeah.
As you should too, Dave.
Could you do it?
You know what? I'm going to acknowledge. I am going to acknowledge Roman because time's running out for Roman's reign. So if I don't acknowledge it now, in a couple of weeks, I won't be able to acknowledge it.
You won't have time later, huh?
I won't have time. Time's ticking. Time's ticking on Roman for sure.
I'm not so sure about that.
Oh, well, then we'll get into it, Bully, because I can almost guarantee that Roman's reign is going to end night number 2 of WrestleMania 40.
Damn
but
I got four words for you. Card subject to change. I have 4 more words for you. Finish subject to change. That's 8 words total, Dave.
8 total. Okay.
You didn't even have to take off your socks to do the math.
I don't need to. I got 2 hands. The one was in my pocket. But so I do want to acknowledge that 1,303 days for Roman Reigns. That's a huge accomplishment. Also, we got to get into the main events. Right now, Hogan has the record. Hogan has main evented WrestleMania 8 times. Roman is going to surpass that this year, guys, because he's got a main event. He's involved in a main event night number 1, and he's involved in a main event night number 2. That is going to be 9 main events for Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Dude, this guy is special. So no matter what happens at WrestleMania 40, you can make the argument, and I probably will have to, that when it comes down to the Mount Rushmore of the WWE, to me, there's no doubt that Roman Reigns is on that Mount Rushmore. To be a champion in this modern day for that long and to main event WrestleMania 9 times, Bully, that is a major accomplishment for Roman.
Dave, I always go back to what Vince McMahon told me at SmackDown in Boston. Bubba, Roman Reigns is the guy that will be putting food on our table for the next 10 years. And he was right. 9 main events at WrestleMania. There it is. I'm a kind of guy that likes to put his finger on the moment that something happens. Like you go back in time and you can find the first domino to fall or that first dot to connect. I remember when Roman first started off on this babyface run and Vince knew he was going to be the guy.
Yeah.
And being told by Vince, Bubba, this is the guy. We're all making money because of this guy. And now 9 main events. No matter what you think about Roman Reigns, you have to have a boatload of respect for what he has accomplished. Yes, I get it. He doesn't wrestle all the time. Blah, blah, blah. It's sports entertainment. Big deal. The Roman Reigns experiment has worked. And it's worked exponentially for the WWE.
There's no doubt.
And that's a big Cody word I just used. Exponentially.
He may use that on his promo tonight on Raw. Mark, and you gotta concur with everything that Bully has said here, Mark, and the fact that this is all come to where we are right now. This story, the build. How many people, because of the bloodline story, Roman has gotten over along with him. Jay and Jimmy Uso. I mean, they have gone to another level. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. You can even throw in LA Knight into the equation as well. Cody Rhodes. They've all gone to that next level because of this bloodline story and Roman Reigns. So before we talk about what's going to happen in less than 2 weeks, I just felt like we needed to put respect where it deserves, right on the name of Roman Reigns, Mark.
This is the ultimate respect that we're giving right now. Guys that were able to give life to other wrestlers. You're so good that you make an entire wrestling fan base give a damn about somebody else that's not even the guy that you're actually in the main conflict with.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys that do it. But nobody has done it better over the last 3 years than Roman Reigns and Chris Jericho. Those two guys have given life to so many wrestlers. Made you give a damn when you really was like, who is this? Why should I know this guy? Why should I care about this? Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa. And it's just this landslide of talent appeal that he oozes onto other guys. Like we knew who the Usos were. We know that they're relatives, they're cousins. But think about the emotional feeling that you have for Jimmy and Jay based off the interactions that they've had with Roman browbeating them, playing them against each other. Like, I mean, we went through so many incarnations of who Roman was that eventually this tribal chief that we have came to be. Because the guy that we had at first is not the same guy as we have right now. Now, you go back 3 years and listen to the promos. Roman Reigns wasn't the Roman Reigns that we have now.
No, he wasn't. You're right. And neither was
The
Usos.
acknowledge me Roman Reigns. The God mode Roman Reigns. Before it was, I'm your cousin. I'm your family. We had that guy, which I love that guy. I respected that guy. But this gravity-pulling planet of a human that we have now that has the entire world throwing up the one, cashing out big money so they can go and cheer and hiss and boo and jump up and down and whistle when Roman Reigns comes out and says, acknowledge me. Nobody's being quiet. A true act of defiance is not giving you what you want. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the people doing? They are giving him exactly what he asked for.
And whether you cheer or whether you boo, you're acknowledging Roman Reigns.
You're acknowledging him. And what wrestler has done that before him? One. It's only one. Ric Flair. Ric Flair is the only wrestler in the top 25 that you loved him and you hated him the same. Go down the list. I'll wait.
I think he's
Roman
a lot
Reigns
higher than
and
the top
Ric
25
Flair.
mark.
No, I'm talking about, I know Roman Reigns is, he's leapfrogged about 10 to 15 wrestlers in this reign as being the greatest of all time. I'm talking about the top 25 wrestlers. And you can make your own list. Everybody have their own list of who the list is. It's so subjective. But in my list, Roman Reigns and Ric Flair are the only two that you loved them and you hated them the same. Everybody else are a heel or a babyface.
Understood.
But right now, I will say this: Roman is getting booed. Even the mention of when Cody mentions Roman, even when The Rock mentions Roman, you hear boos from you're still getting the acknowledgement. You're still getting the respect on Roman, but I think for the first time in this run, he's universally getting booed. Now, somebody who is also on that Mount Rushmore and somebody that, for a while was the face of this company, and that was John Cena. John Cena, we interviewed John Cena just under a year ago, and this is what Cena had to say about Roman Reigns.
I really rest a a lot of accolades on Roman's shoulders, and I've told this to him personally, so it's not something I'm talking around him with. His ability to pass energy to more than himself I haven't seen since the Four Horsemen, but the differences between him and Rick is Rick was always there, and that's brilliant. I'm an always there guy, and I love that Roman did it his way. He did it his own way by crafting his own personality. He did it his own way by redefining what it is to be at the tip of the spear. He is there selectively. He has made himself exclusive, and in doing so, he's brought like 8 people with him. He's allowed the whole bloodline to get over.
Wow.
So with me, if you put me in that conversation, I could only help the person that I was working with while I was working with him. And the reputation I had in the sauce while I was in it was I bury talent, because I would really invest my wholeheartedness. I sat with Austin Theory for like 10 hours, not wasted a day, invested a day to talk about our why, like what's our story going to be. And I would do that with everyone. Like I live it. My heart's on the plate. But after they were me, they didn't take that energy with them, but I gave it to the next guy.
Think about what John Cena just said. And he did get accused of that during the time where he was burying talent. You know, a lot of times where he was in a feud or a series of matches with somebody, and then that was the end. There's countless people that you could talk about. Not faulting Cena, but that's just the way it was. It's completely the opposite when it comes with Roman. Everybody that Roman has been in contact with has escalated to a different stratosphere because of the involvement with Roman Reigns. Another person too, Solo Sikoa is another person that needs to be mentioned in this conversation.
Dave, I got 2 things out of that promo, and I had never heard that interview before. The reference points were perfect. What I just said before that interview, you played Ric Flair and Ric Flair's effect, the cause and the causality of it. And then you go to what he just said about Austin Theory and who he works. John is a very intelligent, intellectual, smart, well thought out, high functioning human being. When you go into preparing a match with him, a lot of guys tend to sit there and do this. Okay. Yeah. That's great. Oh, man, let's do it. It's one-sided. Not Roman. I work with him. Roman is like, man, I like what you do. Is there something else that you do or you want to do that we can try to plug it in? Roman brings you in, takes what you are, and accentuates those points. All wrestlers are different. The Dudleys. When I work with the Dudleys, Bully had already an idea of how you're going to end it, what the start should be like, and then he goes into, okay, you're the world's strongest man, so let's plug in your world's strongest man shit. So there's different techniques to how you bring out people's qualities in the match. Mine was a lot like John Cena's. I was the world's strongest man. I'm a big, humongous guy. So automatically, you're going to have to bounce off me. Everything that I do, you're going to have to oversell it. And you can't take me off my feet. And people go, damn, pretty fucking brutal. But it's not, because it's me. And I want to work for you. So I'm going to put myself in a vulnerable place for you to have success. And I tell anybody that ever worked with me, when I miss something and it's your time, you better fucking bury me. You better, pull your good shit out. Because when I start pulling on them ropes to come up, it's going to have to really look like I'm dying or I'm getting hit with Scud missiles. Otherwise, I'm going to have to get up and eat you. Same philosophy with Taker. Same philosophy with Kane. Same philosophy with Big Show. I learned from the best.
Dave,
So,
Dead
go
Mark,
ahead.
sorry.
So that being said, to wrap it up, Roman Reigns is a different dude. He takes the best of you and accentuates it. That's why so many people succeed, because he's able to get them to see who they really are against the best. And if you validate your best against the best, what do you have? Success.
Mm-hmm.
Roman is a fucking genius, man.
Dave, I don't know if you got a chance just to back up a small point with Mark just said. Did you get a chance to see the Rivals episode last night?
Yes, and I want to get into that later on in the show for sure.
Sure, but here's a little point. Do you remember when they got to the part about the triangle ladder match at WrestleMania 2000?
Yes.
Remember, they were interviewing me, and I talked about this wild idea I had called the Scaffold of Doom. And all the guys were like, we can't do that. We can't do that. I'm like, guys, this is the WWE. We can do anything we want. We just have to tell them what we need, and we can do it. The Scaffold of Doom moment, that picture that I wanted to paint, that moment that I wanted to have, that I thought up of a long time ago, was never designed for me and Devon. It was designed for somebody else. It was designed for somebody else to get over. I didn't want to stand on the scaffold. I didn't want to stand there holding the championships, but I knew I wanted somebody to one day be up there holding those championships. And it worked out for Edge and Christian. And that's what successful talent does in this business. You come up with ideas, scenarios, spots, stories that get somebody else over, but in turn gets you over also. And that's what working with these guys, the Romans of the world, the Cenas of the world, the Takers of the world, that's what they do. One of the first questions, I believe it's a wrestler's job to know exactly what your strengths are. If I'm on the WWE roster, if I'm on an AEW roster, my job is to know everything you do really well.
Yes,
my
sir.
job
Preach.
is to also know what you don't do well and might not do well with me and my partner. So if it's the Dudleys versus Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown, I know what D'Lo does really well. I know what Mark does really well. And I also know some of the things that we might want to stay away from. So now we take what the Dudleys do well, what Mark does well, what D'Lo does, and we bring that all together. And what do you get? You get a good match. You get a good segment. You get a great moment. And that's how it works. You have to know how to plug other talents' strengths into the match.
Dave, great. This is a quick story. Taker and Shawn Michaels speaks for itself. They're going over stuff, and Shelton Benjamin just happened to be standing there like this. And he goes, man, they should do this. And I can't remember who said it, but somebody said, go tell them. Shelton went and told them. They used it. That was the finish of the match. Taker Michaels too.
Really?
I was fucking standing right there.
Wow.
And that's, you get, sometimes Pat Patterson was the best. I mean, you can't think, there's nobody else. Michael Hayes has been good, but Pat Patterson, man, listen. He could see things. It was like he was the Oracle, like he was, man, he was Yoda. Bro, that dude could see stuff that we couldn't see.
Is kind of Heyman playing the role, playing
Paul
that
Heyman
role
is
in this
that
story?
too. Yes. Paul is one of those Oracle guys. He can see the future. Like, that's how they've been able to stay ahead of the game. And I don't know why God gives it to one over the other or what. I don't know. But TJ, we saw TJ in the documentary last night with the Bulldog, British Bulldog. TJ is an Oracle guy. I've known him since he was a little kid. I was in Calgary when that was happening with Davey. You saw the video of TJ? TJ was in the video. He was a little kid coming in the dungeon getting his elbows put together. Stu used to stretch the shit out of him. He can say, I had interaction with Stu Hart. There's not many people can say that. You know what I'm saying? So the knowledge that they've attained from just living is in their family, and being around that family is it's hard to put into context.
Well, and you said family, meaning the Hart family, but I feel like, to bring it back to Roman, the bloodline and this story and this family, and Heyman playing his part so well, and everybody playing their part so well. And it got me thinking, Bully, of something that you said last night in Rivals, where it was like, when you look back at it, and it's funny that I obviously knew this, but when it's said, you're like, holy shit, that Edge and Christian won all these matches. Like, you forget that Edge and Christian won all of those matches. But when you think about it, you really don't think about who won and who lost. When it's done right, everybody wins. Everybody wins. And when it comes to this bloodline story right now, it feels like, to me, everyone is winning.